Oh yeah. Okay. So I never liked to read in class because I can read better in my head than out loud, right? Huh? Kidron? Kidron. Kidron. Whew. Cut it. Cut it. You need to cut it. Oh, maybe not. All right, let's find something else to do because this just isn't working anymore, guys. No, not at all. Oftentimes, I feel that we try to hide our feelings from others. And of course, it's like people that we don't know. We don't want to let them into our space. But oftentimes, I feel that we don't let people in that know us, especially those that are close to us. We don't tell them how we are truly feeling. And sometimes it's out of fear of their response. Maybe they respond in anger or whatever the case may be. Or maybe they may start to worry and you don't want them to worry. I know there's certain things in my life I haven't necessarily shared with people just because I didn't want them to worry about me. I didn't want the comments of, oh, well, it'll be okay. But certain things I haven't shared because I didn't want people to worry about me, you know what I mean? Especially me being all the way in California. Most of the people, like my day ones, like my parents, like my sisters, my nephews, everybody is back on the East Coast. You know what I'm saying? So to tell them something in maybe situations that they can't necessarily be there for me. And then sometimes we took away our feelings so we don't have to deal with them. I don't feel like dealing with this. Push this to the side, let's keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? And we distract ourselves with work or we distract ourselves with this or that. The pain that we took away, that we pushed it to the side, if we don't deal with these issues, they tend to come up with like blowing up on people or self-defeating habits or whatever the case may be. I feel like we don't deal with our feelings because we can't identify what's causing them. For example, I'm feeling hopeless. What is causing you to feel hopeless? Because I'm in over my head, because I've hit rock bottom, because I feel lonely. A couple days ago, I was in the house. My screensaver was on the Apple TV, and it was like of a sunset over the coastline. And for some reason, out of the blue, like the thought, and I've seen the screensaver like 100 times, but out of the blue, it was like, oh, that reminds me when we get back from Afghanistan. Those you don't know, I was in the military for 6 years, yada, yada, yada. Good times, right? Come on, man, don't do that to me. Sorry. So I was in for 6 years, couple deployments, yada, yada, yada. But my first one was to Afghanistan. So when we got back, we landed in LAX, and then we took PCH. Okay, quick little disclaimer. So the trip home was not from my deployment to Afghanistan. It was from the second one. So the first one, when we got back, we landed at an airport and they had signs of welcome home. It felt so good to be back. And I was taking pictures and all stuff like that, and it was just a good time, right? Different story, same feeling. You get me. You feel me? And I remember like seeing people's families and all this stuff like that. And I remember just getting off the bus and there was no one there to greet me back. Not a soul. You know what I'm saying? And like that jaw hurt. Like that hurt. At that point in time, I could not identify what was causing the problem. I totally stuffed it away, pushed it to the side, and forgot about it. Until the other day, and it just like came back up. And it was like, whew. Low-key brought tears to my eyes because it's like just remembering that hurt. And this isn't to bash any of my friends. This isn't to talk about my family, saying that they weren't there for me, because most of them were there during my deployment and keeping me up, sending me care packages. Thank you, Mom. Auntie Yvonne for them cakes. Ooh, oh my goodness. I tell you, we got them cakes and I was distributing those cakes. I was a cake master, you know what I'm talking about? Cake slinger. Cake slinger? I don't think that works. I was dealing them cakes, dope cake dealer. Nah, all right, anyways. But thanks to my mom, Auntie Yvonne, for them care packages, really appreciated. Those got me through. Canned ravioli, we didn't have microwaves, so I just used to open them and eat them out the can. Not to say that my family wasn't there, because our travel time was like so random. It's hard to tell somebody, hey, I'm coming back home. Meet me in California when they're all the way in Florida. You know what I mean? Or all the way in North Carolina. So it was just one of those things. To come back home and nobody be there to greet you, it's kind of a thing like, man, I've been going for this long and there's nobody here to say hello. A lot of my friends at my base were either deploying or deployed. So when I got back, they were gone. All the chicks that I was messing with, all of them was off and moved on to something else, you know what I mean? I don't even think I shared this with like my best friend at the time, Bobo. Bo Moreno, which is now Bo Smith. What it do? I don't even think I told her at the time, like the pain that I felt of just coming back and there was like nobody there. And honestly, I believe that's why I reverted back to drinking so much. A landslide. That thing got ugly quick. Thankfully, I'm a year and some change sober, after years and years and years and years of dealing with alcoholism. But that's another story, another time. Like, those feelings hit me the other day, and those feelings were so real. Like, when I say so real, that thing said, like I had just got off the bus. And it was like something that I never really dealt with. I tried to cope unhealthily. Is that the right word? Unhealthily? Tried to cope with drinking. That didn't work. I tried to cope with sex. That turned into a drama-filled surprise. 9 months later, story for another time. Fam. Whew. These things that I tried to cope with the pain, they didn't satisfy. It left me empty. An hour later, 10 minutes later, the next morning, just woke up and had to chase that same thing. Empty chasing emptiness. I couldn't see the world properly because of the hurt. Low-key ended up in a depression. Started drinking more. Started to look for love in the wrong places. I couldn't stand properly because my foundation was off. I was trying to build on top of things that were just coping mechanisms, but they were the wrong coping mechanisms. I was reading in the morning, I was praying, but when things got tough, that stuff went out the window. I wasn't trying to rely on what I read. I wasn't trying to rely on things that I was praying for. I feel a little uncomfortable. Let me go get a drink. Let me hit up so-and-so. So we can try to cope with all different types of things, from like eating to overworking. We can even do it like with healthy things, like working out, because we're thinking that by going overboard in this area, it's gonna bring fulfillment to ease that pain. And yeah, it may do it for a second when you look in the mirror and you see them abs. I ain't seen abs since 2008. Thinking that those abs are going to fulfill that hurt that we're feeling, that pain that we're feeling, Random, but stick with me here. When the temple in Jerusalem was built in 20, or I don't know how it's 19 BC, dog. When the temple was built in 20 or 19 BC, they used massive stones. They were 40 feet wide, 20 feet high. The stones fit perfectly together, so you couldn't even slip a knife blade in between them. That's how perfectly they fit, right?